Hello and welcome back to Pixel Journey, where we review video games and see if it's right for you. This week we are reviewing Wizdom Academy. So get ready to build, staff, and run your own magical academy. Wizdom Academy has you building a wizard-focused academy from the literal ground up. Starting out with the large mana tree in the middle of your grounds. Decide where every single room goes, from the classrooms to the dorm rooms. Every single decision on this university is up to you. Now, of course, there are some things to think about when running an academy. The first one is mind the budget. Schools are not cheap to run, and since you have been given the task of making a profitable wizard college, you must mind the budget. You can build the school on your own, but you can't run all the classrooms on your own. You can hire professors to focus on teaching. Tip, try to negotiate lower pay because money can be hard to come by. To get some money flowing, you'll need students. Enroll students and they will start going to classes. You can actually keep track of the money flow in real time in the upper left-hand corner to see if you're actually making money or if you're losing money. Mana. Being a wizard school, you rely highly on mana. That magic tree in the middle of the school actually supplies all of the mana for every single room. Classrooms, dorm rooms, extracurricular activities, everything relies on mana. So in normal everyday practice, you have a certain amount of mana. It's pretty much capped, and then the tree helps support the rooms actively running. There will be times when mana droughts happen and the tree can no longer supply fresh mana. You'll need to actually shut down certain rooms in order to avoid running out of your stockpile. Each room uses a specific amount of mana over the course of a specific amount of time. So certain rooms will be more prosperous than others, and some are blatantly rooms that you should shut down. This actually becomes a balancing game of what can be left open and what needs to be shut down. One major tip is keep your dorms open. Dorms are where people can sleep, so both the staff and the students will need to be able to rest, or else they will become very upset. There will actually be options later on as you progress in the game to upgrade your mana storage, and thus allow you to keep more rooms operational during these times of drought. Now, of course, every game like this has some upgrades. With each class successfully taught, you will gain certain materials for upgrades. This can be from graphite to books to physical power. All classrooms yield different results. And the amount and placement of classrooms is all up to you, so if you want to have 3 classrooms that give you books, you can. Now, of course, different material give you different options. Graphite is needed to build new rooms. The only way to get it is by teaching certain classes or by taking down old structures. But demolition costs money, so I actually suggest teaching, especially in the early game, to at least get a surplus. Books are incredibly important. I personally think that they're one of the most useful, and that's because they allow you to progress what's called the learning tree. This is where you unlock stuff like more storage, new classrooms, and other necessities for the school. This one is directly linked to your overall progress in the game, so make sure to at least be collecting books whenever you can. Over time, just like the mana droughts, there will actually be goblin attacks. So to avoid goblins destroying buildings and stealing your materials, you'll have to send out a team to intersect the horde. Now, even with more power, you might need to send more than just one team to intersect the horde. Since you need enough power to take out hordes of goblins and everyone is assigned a base level of power, you'll need to be sending out one or maybe multiple teams to attack and defend. So in order to avoid wasting more people and resources than you can afford, spend time training up people to where you only need a single team. This is where the physical power from teaching comes in. Build up power and ensure that you don't waste too many people fighting a single fight. Now, everyone's favorite part is councils overlooking everything you do. The councils are the ones overlooking the wizarding schools all around, including yours. They decide if you are doing your job as the headmaster well or if you're failing them. They'll be critiquing you until the end, no matter what you're doing, by pointing out things that you need to improve on. They'll be giving out missions that you can do to gain more stuff like increased working speed. Honestly, the rewards for these are pretty good. And you can check at any point to see what you actually need to do to finish or your progression level in the missions. There will also be reminders for things like a professor not being assigned to a classroom, or losing money by having too many professors but not enough students. So they help keep track of the overall quote-unquote health of the school. Now, here comes in some of the stuff that I didn't love about the game, and this section I've titled Battle for Balance. Finding a good balance of trying to complete the missions that you're assigned and build up the school and dealing with the constant mana droughts that then run into goblin attacks and then back to mana droughts is certainly a gargantuan task. These things seem to hit endlessly to the point I was constantly having to shut down classrooms because of the droughts, and it felt like nothing was happening. Goblins continuously kept destroying the school, and it made it actually more annoying than fun to work with. Even though some aspects of the game have plenty of tutorials and explanations, there's still certain pieces that feel like you're thrown in blind. Things like actually fighting the goblins have basically zero tutorials. Setting up the room to create the team is all you get. Put the team together and see them at the top of the map under the goblins. It made me think that they were the team that was set to defend the school. But alas, each time the attack would happen, the school would end up destroyed. No defense happened. You actually need to click on the goblins and select which team you want to send to intercept the hordes. A simple pop-up message to indicate that would have been incredibly useful and saved me so many resources. Building up the school is the main thing. That's the main gimmick of the game and what I was mainly drawn to when offered the game. Early on in the mission, it tells you to start a second floor. But this somehow became incredibly infuriating. The building in this game is not always user-friendly. I could not build a second level, and that was probably the most infuriating part. I spent so much time trying to set up stairs and put in a new classroom, but I was never able to get it to work. The classroom was never accessible, and no matter if I put hallways to try and connect the stairs in the classroom, there was no way for my workers to reach it. It would always be blocked off. And if that wasn't bad enough to keep students in classes, the lack of disciplinary action might bring you over the edge. Having a school full of young students means man-made chaos is inevitable. Students will actually pull pranks and even break classrooms. This means that you'll actually need to send someone to fix the rooms, and basically you need an operating room and assign a single person to that room, and they will go and do all of the construction and repairs. So that means if a student breaks several rooms, you're going to be waiting a bit for all of them to come back online. So this obviously adds up and is a timely investment if a lot of children are misbehaving, making the dorms or classrooms a total disaster and unusable. This seems to add up so quickly, and there's no way to actually make this happen less or prevent any of the destruction, even though when it happens, pranks or destruction, and even when pranks and destructions occur, you get a pop-up saying something's happening and the headmaster needs to bring attention to it, but there's nothing. You can either kick them out, which actually lowers your school's overall rating. So essentially you just have to go on dealing with destruction nearly 24/7 with this game. No disciplinary action can be taken against any of the students. There's no reprimand for pranking other students or staff or destroying rooms. And if you decide that you've had enough of a student and you decide to remove them from your academy, you actually take a hit on your reputation. Very frustrating. It almost seems like you're being punished for taking in students, and it just overall is an annoying thing that I wish you could at least reprimand or put them in remedial classes or something. And the same can also be said for instructors. I mentioned before that there's a tip of, in order to maintain profit and not go into the negatives, make sure to try and hire the most cost-effective teacher, the lowest salaried one. This means if you were forced in the early game to take on someone who has a $300 salary and you find several that are more cost-effective and you're fully staffed, you don't need the $300 one. You can let them go, but once again, you take a hit on your reputation. This system just seems a little bit more rough than I think it should be, especially on the students. The staff I can see, but the students and lacking of discipline in any way, shape, or form is just more frustrating, and it goes into the category with the mana droughts and the goblin attacks in my mind. So my final thoughts. This game, at the end of the day, it's still in early access. It's not a full release. There is actually a timeline on the Steam page, and it shows future improvements and what to expect later on. I actually restarted the game whenever I saw that there was an update. I started from the beginning, but in the end, I still hit the same roadblock, and that is that build a second level. And taking a step back and looking at the game overall, at the moment, it feels like there's a lot of bugs or simply overlooked things that make the game in its current state nearly unplayable. I tried the game from a fresh start, and I still can't recommend it in its current state. Things as simple as a mission to survive a second level mana drought was impossible because there was no indication on how to activate a second level drought. This tied in with the second level of the academy, pushed me over the edge, and both times trying it, I gave up at that point. The constant interference made the management part of the game get shoved to the back burner. I really wanted to focus on building up the school, but I was constantly searching for cheaper teachers and firing the most expensive ones, which made the school look bad, because once again, anytime you removed a staff, a student, or a student withdrew, you lose your points. Students leaving meant that I was constantly needing to get more students to be enrolled. It was not fun. It was actually more stressful because it was just a waiting game. So, at the moment, I really can't recommend this game in its current state. I'm really hoping that once it gets into its full release and more stuff has been fixed, more content has been added, that it'll be a fun management game that allows you to kind of live out your Wizard Academy dreams. But in its current state, Wizdom Academy actually only earned 1 out of 5 stars for me. And that's all I have for Wizdom Academy. I tried it 2 separate times, and I hit the same roadblock in both. It just seems like this game is out a little too early, even for early access. But I do actually really hope that this game turns out really well, and that the devs can fix all of the bugs, maybe make the building aspect a bit more user-friendly, and I think they might have something really fun on their hands if they can manage it. And the question of the week is, what is your favorite wizard-influenced game? And with that, that's the end of the episode. Thank you for everyone who watched. I hope you got something out of it. So if you think I did a good job, give this video a like. It really helps. And if you want to go the extra mile, hit the subscribe button so you don't lose me in the sea of YouTube content. And with that, I will let you all go and enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you guys have a lovely time. Bye, guys.